Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the latest spin. I'm Mike Spinner, Student Athlete World USA. It's Thursday. What else is there, right? You're looking forward to this, and we're on a short week this week, right? It's like playing on a Sunday after Monday Night Football. Because remember last week I came at you on Friday morning because I decided to take a little nap when I should have been filming, and today I'm spot on. I'm right where I should be. It's Thursday night. I'm here. So it's on short rest, but I got the energy. I'm good to go. And before I dig into things, if you have seen Tim Ryerson, please check in on him and make sure he's okay. Because Wisconsin, oh my goodness, High Point University. I'm not going to get too much into it because I kind of have to save that one for later if you know where I'm going with this. But let's just make sure we pat Tim on the back. We reassure him it's going to be okay. Wisconsin's great. They're in the women's ice hockey Final Four, Tim. So you have something to look forward to, and they're always a big favorite in women's ice hockey Frozen Four. So there's still something good happening in Wisconsin, Tim. It's just not basketball. Okay, we'll just kind of leave it there for a few minutes. All right, we'll just push that one a little bit to the future. You might not want to watch What in the World this week, but for the rest of you, if you're near Fuquay, Varina, North Carolina, just check in on Tim. Erica, if you're watching, let's just make sure Tim's okay. It's been a rough day for our president, meaning of our company. So I'm not there. I'm in Connecticut, so I can't do this. But I texted him. It was a very short answer, so some real sadness going on in the Ryerson house. So let's just make sure our fearless leader knows everything's going to be all right, Tim. All right, now on to business. So as I've been saying for weeks now, we are nearing the end. And here's how close to the end we're getting. Got a phone call today. Interested in traveling with Student Athlete World. Great. Start to walk them through the steps. They were only available for one tour. We're not rostering for that tour anymore. And so, it's not you snooze, you lose. It's not the early bird gets to worm. We're not hanging on the rim here that we're not rostering certain tours. But that's just a fact of life. So the conversation turned into, hey, here's what we have available, or there's 2027. But what we're not going to do is overstuff a roster. We have a formula for our roster sizes. We stick with that formula because we want our travelers, our athletes, and our families to have the best possible experience. And us making a roster too big is not in the best interest of the experience of our families. So, some of our tours are closed out. Some of our tours have a few roster spots. There are no tours that are wide open right now. So as we are now hitting that crucial final stretch here, just know if you are a late comer, all right, your first question when you meet with me should be what tours are still available. I can tell you right now, United World Games, boys and girls basketball, some roster spots remaining, not many. Same with Portugal Basketball Festival. There's a little bit out there, not much. Okay. Costa Rica, boys basketball only, getting towards the end there. For basketball, nothing else. All right, we're done. Ice hockey, one or two skaters, we're done. All right, lacrosse, goalies need not apply. Field players, few spots remaining, we're done. Soccer, on the girls' side, need a couple more field players. Boys' side, like one more, and we're done. Like we're that close to the end. Okay. So again, there is room on some tours. There's not much of it. We are at that point. It's an exciting point. And I am currently working on hiring our coaching staff for the summer. And that should be done sooner than later. We should have an announcement coming out. I'm excited about that. And pretty soon I'll know where I'm going. So I'll have an even more exciting announcement. One of my favorite questions I'm asked during an interview. And if you haven't had an interview with me yet, they're fun. I make them lots of fun. But for whatever reason, the last couple of weeks, a lot of the families I'm interviewing have wondered, like, are you going to be on my tour? And I love that question. It means they either like me or they hate me. Either they like me enough that they want me to be on a tour with them, or they hate me so much that they don't. But I'm the more optimistic thinker, so I'm thinking that they like me and they want me to be on their tour. And the answer is I don't know where I'm going. I'd like to go to someplace new this summer, but I am not quite sure yet. We'll see how things kind of shake out. There's a couple of tours I have my eyes on. I'm not going to lie. Being in Argentina during the World Cup on a soccer tour sounds like the coolest thing ever. So maybe. Thinking about Costa Rica a little bit. Lost a lot of weight. Might want to walk around the beach for the first time in the summer since I can remember. Not too sure. And Spain and Portugal, I my heart is still there. It's still for me a life-changing tour. So maybe there. And then there's United World Games, which I've been to twice and would go every year if I could. So to be honest, I don't know where I'm going, but we'll know that soon also. But it's an exciting time for us. And believe it or not, I'm already speaking with families about 2027 in the respect that I had a great phone call tonight with a lacrosse parent who already has vacation plans during our Lisboa Lacrosse Cup time and going to a different part of the world. Like if they're going to Europe, they'll just meet up with us, but can't happen. Like it's just, there's no way logistically to make it happen, but it's like, hey, get your application done for 2027. I'll offer a spot if your film looks good and you give a great interview. We'll do this right now for 2027. And sure enough, a couple hours later, there's the application. So, we're really in that turbocharged part of the year that I love so much. And we're almost at tour time. Like you can't believe it's almost here, but it's almost here. Now, what in the world? And here we go, Tim. If you're still watching, grab the tissues, a little extra Kleenex. All right. Maybe hold your breath, because what in the world tonight is brought to you by, I have to do it, Tim. I just have to. High Point University. Oh my goodness. High Point took down the mighty Badgers today. I don't know why I'm laughing, but I am. And I'm laughing in the context that my team, St. John's University, got completely hosed with their bracket. Now, if you look at St. John's, who won the Big East, they beat UConn to win the Big East. And look at their bracket. Like, man, they I think, among what I consider to be realistic candidates for the Final Four. Like teams that, based on what we saw during the regular season and conference tournaments, have a realistic chance to make the Final Four. I think St. John's has the hardest path. I'm not making any excuses. They have the best coach in college basketball history. There, I said it. All right. So someone who can excel this time of year. But, man, their path is a tough one. So for all I know, St. John's is also going to be one and done. But they're not going to lose to High Point. All right. Because right now, there are millions of basketball fans around the world wondering, where is High Point? Well, where are they? They're a sponsor of the latest spin. That's where they are. Now, let me just call a spade here. If you don't know anything about High Point, all right, number one, they're located in North Carolina. All right, not near Tim, but in North Carolina. Number two, there might not be a better college campus in this country. All right, look it up. All right, and do their virtual tour. That is one of those schools that if you're looking at a mid-major, okay, you're looking at a school that's not like the blue blood name brand, like Wisconsin. All right. I don't know if I'll call them a blue blood, but like a Duke, if you're not going to play in the upper echelon of any sport, all right, so whatever sport it is you play, if you're not going top D1, you got to check out High Point. It is such a spectacular campus. It is essentially going to college at a super modern, unbelievably well-kept country club. All right. It is just that kind of place. Amazing athletic facilities, beautiful campus, unbelievable dorms, but also just very modern. Okay. Very comfortable. Meaning they can draw high caliber athletes for any sport. And clearly they did so for basketball. Now, I could have made a Wisconsin joke right there, Tim. I avoided that one. But so am I surprised that High Point is excelling? The answer is no, I'm not. Should they be beating a Big Ten school with a competitive basketball tradition? The answer is also no. They're still a mid-major for a reason. All right. But here is my what in the world this week. My what in the world this week goes right back to an issue I've discussed before. And now we have the perfect real-time, real-world example. Because right now, if I'm working in athletics at any mid-major, High Point, anywhere else, okay, I'm high-fiving the rest of my staff because High Point pulled off probably the biggest upset in the first round, I think. And there were some close ones like Siena Duke. What a game that was. That one went right down to the wire. I don't think anyone saw that one coming. Another mid-major. But here's the problem. 5 years ago, all right, if you're a fan of the underdog, and I am the ultimate fan of the underdog, 5 years ago, what High Point did today, and even what Siena did today, was a really big deal. It is awesome, okay? Because, and we see it every year now with the NCAA tournament, like FDU, a 16 beating a 1 not long ago. UMBC beating Virginia, all right, not long ago, okay? And so you see it, it's just a dying dynamic in college basketball because here's what's going to happen. So High Point has now advanced. Now, I don't know who they're playing next. I didn't look that carefully into it. But they are now one win away, just one. So they're in the group of 32 now. One more win, they're in the Sweet 16. If they win their next game, two things are going to happen if they have not already set themselves in motion. Number one, anybody good on that team is going to enter transfer portal and go to a better Division I school, as great as High Point is. All right. If whoever their leading scorer was today against Wisconsin, if he performs similarly or better in the next game, and the game is even close, or if High Point wins, that best player is going to play at a bigger Division I next year, and probably a few of his teammates will as well. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. Why? Because there is more NIL money available at the bigger school. So High Point's in North Carolina. If they have a great player, and I'll be honest, I watched bits and pieces of the game. I didn't pay that careful attention to it because I'm working, right? Right. But that is what will happen. So if they're in North Carolina, and I believe North Carolina State lost today, if I'm not mistaken. So if a bigger Division I like North Carolina State or a huge Division I like Duke or UNC, they want that player. They're just going to go get him and pay him more. And now that kid will leave High Point and go to the bigger name because that's what we have now with NIL money and transfer portal. So that's the first thing. Best players in High Point, gone. One win away. And the High Point coach, whomever he is, I do not know his name, he will leave High Point to go someplace that will offer him more resources, a higher salary, more NIL money to spend, and a better opportunity to win games. And that is the landscape that we're now in. Now, I've been talking about it many times on this show, but I'm really appreciative that High Point won today for two reasons. One, you get to make fun of Tim. All right. Do you know, think about whatever you do for a living. If you're a kid and you work part-time at fast food, or if you're an adult and you have a career, how often do you have the pleasure and the privilege to needle your boss the way I do, Tim, about Wisconsin? It is awesome. It's like one of the perks of the job. Like, I get to see the world for free. I get to work from home. I get to work in sports, okay? And I get to make fun of my own boss publicly. This is like the dream job, all right? And so like right now, Tim's blood is boiling watching this video. This is so cool. And he lives in North Carolina and I live in Connecticut, so it's not even like he can address this in person. I'm just not picking up the phone tomorrow, Tim. But bottom line here, though, is we're going to see fewer and fewer High Points moving forward just because of NIL alone. So that really good high school player is not going to choose High Point anymore. They, like right now, if I have a child who's a great basketball player, probably belongs at upper tier Division One, but the only option that's available is a mid-major. Honestly, what am I doing? I'm going to send them to a community college right now, Division One community college. If you know, the community NJCAA has Division One, Two, and Three. Really good Division One JUCO. Play for a year, dominate. They don't lose any eligibility. Then find that high major Division One to transfer to. Right, that's the route I'm taking. But because of NIL, that mid-major is less prevalent, less existent than it used to be. And because of this unmitigated transfer portal, all right, if you have a kid at a mid-major who's really excelling, he has one foot out the door. There's nothing to stop him. Like for me, as a sports fan, as a fan of competition, and I love college athletics. I spent 23 amazing years of my life working in college athletics. All right. What I want to see is this High Point team stick together, including their coach, and just see if they can do this again. Because now they take the court moving forward with the confidence that they can pull off a big win. Unfortunately, there is a really good chance that High Point next year in men's basketball won't even make the NCAA tournament because their roster is probably getting gutted and their coach is probably leaving mainly because of one win, maybe two. And that's just what the college basketball landscape, college sports landscape has become. It hasn't become try to be the David that beats Goliath, that Cinderella story. You remember Florida Gulf Coast University? Could have been that long ago. What they go to the Elite Eight and what their coach do left for USC. All right. You love that story. Okay. When I was a kid, it was Villanova winning the national championship. Raleigh Massimino was head coach. That was the heyday of the Big East. That's when college athletics, I think, really meant something special that we've lost. You don't have that anymore, and you're not going to because of the landscape. So for me right now, I'm going to enjoy High Point and what they did today, not just because I get to make fun of Tim, but because it's a dying breed. There's less of it that's going to happen. Those days are almost over, and it's very sad. Because I think what has made this tournament March Madness is exactly what we saw today from High Point and almost from Siena. And maybe there'll be a few others, but it's not going to happen that much anymore. March Madness, sadly, is becoming March Sadness because the system itself, the rich are getting richer, which means at some point, there's no Robin Hood. The poor are just going to be poor. And these first-round matchups are going to become meaningless. And I think we're very close to that. And it's very sad. But for now, congratulations, High Point. If you don't believe me about their campus, look it up yourself. It is spectacular. Hope to see you win a few more games in this tournament. And Tim, like you've probably been saying every year of your life about Wisconsin basketball and football, there's always next year. And that's it for Latest Spin this week. As always, great fun. And with our few roster spots remaining, there's only one way to grab one. Go to studentathleteworld.com, complete your application, interview with me, and pack your bags. You all have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week.